Do you know, I think my personality has infected my Metro tap card.
Why?
Ask me how I know.
How do you know?
So there's this really cushy bus I ride from like work to home. It doesn't work the other way around because of schedules and shit.
Right.
You know my Metro food is good.
Yes.
So apparently the tap box has not been working well, like perfectly. Mm-hmm. Like it keeps going out of order. And the driver has guessed, she says it happens after I tap. Like she was noticing a pattern, like when I get on in the afternoon, I tap, it's fine. And then ever after that for the rest of the day, it's like not taking anyone's tap. So she like put me on restriction this week.
She's like, don't you tap that card?
No. She's like, you ride for free this week. Don't you tap that card?
Did it work?
Yes.
Oh my God.
So like my Robin Hood card has been like fucking with the machine. So I tap. It's like free rides. Free rides.
When you've already paid. Free rides that you just didn't take. And who would have thought it figures? Oh, Alana, she just out there being a rich hippie.
Yeah.
Living her life.
Really strange. But yeah, so my Metro card went total Robin Hood. Giving rides to the people.
Well played.
You know, right? So we're going to see this Monday when I'm allowed to tap again if the free rides come back.
You'll never be tapping again.
She's too dangerous. Just let her ride for free. It's Jeannie.
And in case you didn't know where we were, I am Samara.
And I am the Robin Hood of the subways.
And this is Talk Deadly to Me. Oh, Jeannie, are you ready to pick up on where you left off on the sordid tale of Liysa?
Liysa the liar.
She does that a lot, yes.
A whole lot. No, dude, editing this thing was like another mind fuck again. The last episode, I'm like, when is she telling the truth? I can't tell. What is real? What is like?
Never.
The
woman's a walking.
The Liysa zone.
She's a walking gaslight.
Yeah.
I know that term comes from a movie, but if gaslighting was a physical thing,
yeah, she gives me anxiety.
Everybody should have anxiety.
Yeah, I'm specifically scared of people like this. Like, I specifically have a phobia for people who are, like, that fucking dishonest. Like, pathologically. I'm like, you are the deadliest predator.
Luckily, though, most people like this are pretty low stakes.
Yes.
Thankfully. They're happy with their petty narcissisms and whatnot.
Exactly. Or their lies are so small and stupid you'd never notice them.
Exactly.
But, ooh.
So where we
make me nervous.
As they should. So where we last left off, Liysa had been pestering her husband Nick for a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
It was over because she had already picked out a new man.
Yeah.
And she...
Moving at the speed of fan fiction.
Man. So it was November of 1993 when Hawaiian Airlines pilot Chris Northam and his 3 friends decided that they needed to move out of their shared beachfront apartment in their beachfront house, actually, on Oahu, and move. They needed a new apartment. The house that they were living in was about to be sold. One of their friends was on the verge of marriage and maybe moving to the East Coast to where his wife was located. And so they might just need a new roommate. Yeah. I don't know, on top of the place being sold and yada, 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 yada. And so with all of this going on, and all of these guys are pilots for Hawaiian Airlines. So they're headquartered out of Hawaii. That's why they're there.
Okay.
And so the roommate said it was up to Chris to find the next apartment. One of them they had done this several times. They were in this one particular beachfront house for about 7 years. Oh, okay. But these guys are all in their late 30s, early 40s. They've been at this for a while. It's a bunch of them that are all really good friends that are stationed out of the same spot together. Yeah. And they just share a house. And it works for them. Yeah. Because they travel so much You
Sounds
never,
like a fun life.
and they travel so much you don't really have to worry about stepping on other people's toes.
Yeah.
Or if you do step on somebody's toes, it's only for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be leaving anyway. So Chris was able to find him and the guys a new place, and it was the upstairs floor of a shared house in Oahu. So this is a pretty big house. The owner and landlady lives on the bottom floor, like the basement to the first floor is where she lives. And the entire upstairs is its own separate apartment with its own separate 2 bedrooms, bathroom, kitchen, everything. So it still works out for their kind of revolving door of pilot situation, even though it's not like a whole house.
Yeah.
And their landlord liked them. It was like 5 of them that lived in this apartment, but she never had more than 2 or 3 of them around at the same time, which is why it worked out being a 2.5 bedroom apartment. It's like 5 roommates work because all 5 of them are never going to be together at the same time. But on the rare occasion they all were around, the landlord said that they were super sweet guys, probably because they're older.
Yeah.
You know, they weren't rowdy, they were polite.
Yeah.
They came home, they went to work, they surfed. Every now and again, they'd have people over to play video games or something. But for the most part, they were good, sweet tenants. And Chris is often remembered as the nicest guy in a group of nothing but nice guys. And not nice guys TM, but actual nice people that just happen to be guys.
Yes.
Because
funny we have to make that distinction.
Right, because nice guys TM is a completely different.
They are not nice guys.
Yeah, they are not nice guys.
Nope.
And in a lot of ways, Chris was living the dream. He's a pilot, and he lives in between Hawaii and Oregon throughout the year.
Okay, that's cool.
He was born and raised in Oregon, and he kept a part-time residence there so he could stay close to family and friends. He had a place in the suburbs of Bend. And then, of course, Hawaii, he's stationed out of Hawaii, and that's just a good fucking time.
Yeah.
Like,
cannot complain.
Especially Chris is a very athletic, outdoorsy guy, so he could do every variation of running, hunting, jumping, climbing trees you could possibly want in between Oregon and Hawaii. You could surf, snorkel, hike, all of that.
Mountain climb, all of it.
Hawaii's got it. You want to do winter hiking, camping,
kayaking,
whatever. Oregon's got you. Skiing, all that shit. So he really is living like the life. And because Chris was a successful man who was easy on the eyes, paint a picture, he's about 6'3", maybe 6'4", big guy. Blondie blue, very Swedish, very Nordic looking. He like jokingly sometimes refers to himself as a big dumb Swede.
Okay. He's allowed to call himself that.
and that's fine. But you know, he's broad-shouldered, reasonably good looking, kind of like in my brain like almost like a plastic Ken doll good looking.
Yes.
If Ken was a real,
he came with the picture frame kind of.
Yes. Chris Norton is the guy that comes in, the blonde man that comes in your picture frame.
Yes.
That you're giving your friends for their like anniversary or something. It's him and some blonde woman.
Yes.
In the picture frame that you gave as a gift. And so because he is so easy on the eyes, dating was never a problem for Chris.
Yeah, no doubt.
He's successful, he's decent looking, and while he would have several brushes with love, at 37 years old, Chris had not found the right girl to settle down with. And most of his relationships actually ended because the women that he dated would eventually find his life and lifestyle difficult to deal with.
Yeah, I can see that.
And not just the traveling. Chris is the kind of guy whose life seems to be based almost exclusively on spontaneous adventure.
Oh, okay.
So because of his schedule and being a pilot and having access to flights and everything, almost a moment's notice. If he wakes up in the morning and he decides he wants to go scuba diving in Tahiti, he will do that. If he gets a bug up his ass in the middle of the night and decides that he wants to go kayaking in Seattle, he will get up and do it. That's it.
Okay.
End of story.
Yeah.
And that can be difficult for some people to deal with.
Yes. Yeah.
Especially if your life is like most of us that aren't pilots and things. If your life is not set up to accommodate that same sort of spontaneity,
yeah,
it's going to be difficult. If you got a regular 9 to 5,
yeah,
and you just can't be taken off for kayak trips on a Wednesday because it sounds like a good thing to do,
yeah,
your relationship is going to run into some challenges. So it was never that he was a bad guy. It was always ended up being the lifestyle not being compatible. Because all of the women that he dated said that he was one of the best.
Yeah.
He is, for a lot of his exes, he's the one that got away. But
yeah, he sounds really nice, but that is an unusual, unconventional schedule.
Yeah.
Way to spend your week.
and that's before you get into the traveling that he does for work. The spontaneity thing, when they were, it's funny in the book, Heart Full of Lies by Anne Rule. When the women who his exes are interviewed, when they talk about his life being built on spontaneity and that becoming a problem, that was before they talked about the traveling. It's like the traveling is just like the icing on it.
Yeah.
This is an issue. So he's having a great time anywhere you want to go. He's a wonderful, good time to be around. After a few months of living in the upstairs apartment, Chris saw that a young couple had bought the dilapidated old house across the street from where he was staying. And after a few weeks, Chris and his friends would see Liysa and her little boy walking back and forth to the beach.
Yeah.
This is another place that's like the beach is a good 3-4 blocks. It's nice walking distance from where they're at. And as neighbors often do, Chris and his friends would become acquainted with their neighbors, Liysa and Nick Matson. When they first bought the old house, Nick saw the place as an old fixer-upper in a great location and a nice place to start putting down roots and a nice addition to their little mini real estate empire. You know, it's in a good area. It's close to the beach. They can fix it up. I think it was like a 3-bedroom house. So it's like we could kind of start to grow our family here and make this a home base while we do all of our other stuff. But what Nick didn't know about this house, Liysa had been here before. Back in 1986.
Yeah.
When Liysa faked her weird amnesia thing to get out of dating Tim.
That was so fucking weird.
She lived with Tim and his mother in the house right next door to where Chris lives.
Oh.
She moved into that same neighborhood.
Okay. Psycho.
And even after she broke up with Tim, remember she broke up with Tim, but she didn't leave the neighborhood.
No.
She just moved to a rented house across the street from Tim's mother.
Yeah. Because that's so normal.
Nick didn't know that when they bought this house. So she literally lives 3 doors down from her ex-boyfriend and his family.
Yeah.
The whole neighborhood knows that she's a nut.
Yeah.
They don't tell Chris, but...
Which is incredibly unfortunate. God damn it, people, gossip. Gossip to all your neighbors. Don't leave anyone out.
So in later interviews, Chris's friends would say that when Chris and Liysa first met, you know, just as neighbors kind of high and by over the fence or walking back and forth to the beach kind of thing, Chris described Liysa as some sort of surfer girl photographer.
Okay.
Adequate.
I mean, these are actual facts.
Yes.
Which, impressive.
True. So like he liked her. He's like, oh, that's interesting. You're a surf photographer, underwater photographer. Okay, she likes to surf and things. Obviously, she's fit. She's to Chris easy on the eyes, but nothing's happened yet.
Yeah,
this is just the neighbor lady. For her part, Lisa would say that she saw all of the guys coming in and out of that apartment and assumed that Chris and all of his friends were gay.
Okay.
Because why would there be so many men coming in and out of that apartment?
I mean, if you're really judgmental and you have to know.
Well, luckily she found out that they were pilots, and then she was like, oh, so you're straight then.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why
pilots make them straight.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm like, I don't know how she gets there, but okay. Side eye.
Being a pilot's so normal. It was the 80s.
Yeah. And here's what's interesting. So when they first move into this house, they get in, they get settled. Right after they move in, Nick has to go away for an extended surf trip to Tahiti. Mm-hmm. So he's gone, I think, like the first 4 to 6 months that they live in that house. It's pretty much just Lisa and their little boy. Right? And with Nick being out of town for weeks and weeks and months on end, Lisa was already smitten with Chris. She likes him tall. Yeah. And on the slim fit.
Yeah. And she can't go a minute without attention.
No, she cannot. So she took full advantage of Nick's travel schedule to flirt and get alone time with Chris. Mm-hmm. In a 1994 journal entry, Lisa said, quote, Chris came to dinner. We talked for 4 or 5 hours. Mm-hmm. He's become a huge new element in my life.
Oh my God.
End quote. And while
like something you use,
I'm a new element. Oh, because she's a smitten kitten. She is smitten.
She's with something.
I don't even think she's
God smote her with something.
And while Chris didn't journal about it, the feeling was mutual. Okay. If you have eyes and a functioning brain, you could tell that they were feeling each other. Yeah. Right? It's, Yeah. If they're trying to keep it a secret, it's not working because people can see it. And especially it comes across in the way that Chris talks about Lisa. Mm-hmm. He really likes her. He really likes her independence. Mm-hmm. One of his things in some of his relationships was that he was always worried that because he did okay for himself and was considered a successful man, he often wondered if some women approached him because they liked him or if they liked the trappings of his success. The travel, the flights, the jet setting, the spontaneity. Do they like that, or do they really like him? So I'm wondering if maybe he ran into a few wannabe gold diggers or
I'm sure
something.
Or his buddies did.
Yeah, or he's seen it. And so Lisa's such an independent person. Mm-hmm. She does her own thing. She doesn't need anybody to prop her up. Mm-hmm. And he really, really likes that about her. Yeah. He likes that she's fit, that she's really active. One of the things that Lisa would do on a regular basis is that she would swim to this little island. It's a very long name that I can't pronounce, so I didn't bother to write it down. Yeah. But it's in Hawaiian, and it's a lot of U's and I's and P's in places that my tongue does not agree with. Yes. So that's why I didn't write it down. Yeah. But this island is about a mile, maybe a mile and a half away from their actual beach. Mm-hmm. And it is a very difficult swim through ocean currents that even very experienced swimmers would probably want to take a spotter boat with them on the swim to this island. Yeah. Because it could be that treacherous. Yeah. And Lisa made that
like a risk.
She made that swim almost daily. Wow. On her own. No spotter. Yeah. That's impressive. Nothing. And he was very impressed with that. I low-key kind of think once he realized that she could do it, that he started doing it too.
Yeah.
And they would like take turns swimming back and forth to this island. Because he might have been like, wait, she can't out. No. I need to learn how to swim to this island too. And so Chris took this self-sufficiency as a sign that if Liysa is into me, it's because she likes me.
Yeah.
She didn't give a shit about the pilot thing, the abs, or whatever else I got. She's into me. And that's what they're going to put a lot of expectations on one another. And they're not discussed.
Ooh.
And in some places,
not good.
Chris is outright misled.
Yeah.
But in a lot of places, they're projecting something on one another.
Yeah.
Like he's projecting her free spirit, independent nature as, oh, she's really into me. She would never betray or do anything to me because I'm what she likes.
Yeah.
And she is one of the clingiest, most neediest people ever.
Yes.
But he doesn't know that at this point.
Yeah.
During that first few months of meeting, Liysa did tell Chris and his friends that she was married to Nick. They'd been married about 8 years at this point. But she said that the marriage was on the rocks. It was a loveless marriage. They're sleeping in separate rooms. And that Nick often went on long assignments so that they didn't have to deal with each other. And that's why he wasn't around much.
Smart man.
6 of one, half dozen of the other. I'm skipping ahead a little bit. This is Liysa's cover story of why she is a married woman openly dating the neighbor.
Yeah.
She has to explain it away somehow. The reality of the situation is Nick thinks their marriage is fine. They're unconventional people. He expects them to have an unconventional marriage. So he thinks they're fine. He does not realize that she is about to trade up.
Oh.
Or thinks that she's going to trade up. He has no idea. He thinks they're straight.
Funny. Oh, bless.
Because he did think, he's like, well, we are unconventional people. The whole, like, these random white people that come from other places in the lower 48 end up in Hawaii. They're surf photographers and adventurers and shit like that. He wouldn't expect them to have a conventional marriage. So there's nothing wrong with either one of them having to be away on assignment for a long period of time. They got this business together. This is just what they do. He's not thinking that she's going to be out trying to fuck the neighbor. So yeah, it's a little both. But it's a good cover story though. Yeah. For everybody that's not Nick. Yeah. That's a great cover story. Because like I said, Nick thinks they're fine. And with that, Chris started spending more and more time with Liysa and her son. When asked what was going on with him and Liysa, Chris usually demurred. He was not the type to kiss and tell. But like I said earlier, if you've got eyes, these people, if they aren't fucking yet, at the bare minimum, they're having a pretty intense emotional affair. Yes. Bare minimum. Yeah. They are fucking. But at the bare minimum, this is a intense emotional affair. When one old friend tried to warn Chris to be careful with Liysa, because, like, you're fucking some guy's wife. People get shot over shit like that. True. You want to be careful. Chris said, bro, I can't help it. Even if I didn't want to see her, she climbs into my window at night. Oh, my God. To spend the night with me. Oh, my God. And he just can't say no. Oh, Chris. They're at the part where he thinks it's cute. Okay. That, like, she wants to spend time with him so much that she will crawl through his bedroom window just to, like, spoon with him. And he can't say no. Well, that's a problem. He can't say no. Oh, dude. He can't. She crawls into my window at night. I can't resist. And I wonder how it must feel for a man who is... Chris is a very masculine man, but he's also very sensitive, right? All of the women in his life, like when they interview a bunch of his ex-girlfriends, he's a unicorn. When women say that they want a strong, masculine man that's still in touch with his feelings and isn't afraid to cry and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
And you just start to think that men like that are a myth.
Yes.
And then you meet Chris, you're like, God damn, this unicorn is real.
Oh, wow.
And so I wonder what it must be like for him as an emotionally intelligent man, but who is a manly man, so like masculine, make the first move kind of guy.
Yeah.
The grand gestures are on you because you're a man. I wonder how delightfully overwhelming it must be to have a woman make grand displays of affection for you. And I'm wondering if that's why he has such a hard time saying no.
Well, maybe.
Because,
I mean, guys can be romanced.
Yeah, because he's normally the one that has to do that. I'm not saying he made a habit of sneaking into women's rooms at night.
It's less alarming for a guy to have a girl sneak in and surprise him. If a man does that to a woman, there might be some screaming. No, good intentions notwithstanding.
Right. I'm not saying that Chris was the kind of dude that was like crawling into women's windows at night.
I could see how that would be romantic to a guy
who's not used to.
It's not really a threatening. Well, I mean, it can be.
No, but I think for him, it's like, he's being romanced. He's being swept off his feet.
I think a lot of boys would be romanced by that, not just like strong, sensitive guys. I think a lot of them would be won over with that kind of thing.
It's possible.
They need to be needed.
Yeah, but I just wonder, that must have been so delightfully
swept off his feet.
Overwhelming, because he's usually the person that has to do the sweeping.
Yeah.
He's the one that has to peacock to make sure that this woman knows.
Romance.
Yeah.
They want to be romance.
And he's the only one that has to like peacock around to make sure this woman knows that she has his attention.
Yeah.
And for somebody to be like wanting to spend time with you every day, and like you're laying in bed.
To my window. Crown inside. Something the light of the moon.
Come to my window. I'll be home soon.
Yeah.
Miss Melissa Etheridge.
Yes. But that's the energy she's giving.
Yes. And I guess I can totally see a universe where it's like midnight, he's watching TV, he's in bed, and he hears a little tap, 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 tap. And it's Lisa, and he's like, what the... And she's just like, just hold me.
Can you just hold me?
Charming. And he's just melting. You know, because she's the one bringing him the flowers and the candy and the gifts and the grand gestures.
Flowers smell nice. Candy is tasty.
I'm telling you,
universal.
I wonder if that's why he couldn't say no.
Yeah, get your boy some flowers.
Yeah. He's just not used to being wooed.
Yeah.
Especially not this hard.
Oh, I wish it could be better for him.
I know.
I wish he'd found that quirky girl. You did not, sir.
No. And for her part, Lisa is obsessed with being in a permanent relationship with Chris. She's really like, as soon as Nick gets back, I need to get out of this fucking marriage because this is the one. This is where it's at.
This is the new hit. This is the new dick.
Yeah, and they're, I would say, within 3 to 6 months of meeting. I think Nick is gone for like 6 months. I would say within that first 3 to 4 months. Definitely before Nick got home, they were fucking.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, for sure.
Lisa made him, like, go way out of his way to take, like, 50 million STI tests.
Yes.
Because she wanted to make sure that he was safe. Bitch, you're the hoe.
Exactly.
You should...
Projection.
Speaking of testing, did you know that you can get STI, paternity, and HIV testing kits at CVS?
CVS, sponsor us.
I had to go
paternity tests at CVS now.
Yes.
That does feel like living in the future.
I had to go.
STI.
I had to go to a CVS today, and these old people came in and they were buying COVID tests, and I'm like, didn't you get your government ones? Don't all of us just have like one or two of those government ones like in the cabinet now? But whatever.
Check the expiration date, kids.
But whatever. And I was like, oh yeah, they're sick. They're masked up, and they know they got the shit. They just need a test to be for sure.
Yeah.
And so they asked for the test, and the girl went behind the counter to get them. And I looked up, and she's pulling the test off the counter, and they were sitting right next to a STI test. And they got a combo test where you can test for the HIV and STIs.
Nice. This makes me happy for the kids.
$100.
Ugh. No, that's a sin.
They shouldn't be that pricey.
No, they should be like $3. Those should be like handed out like candy at high schools.
But you can get a HIV test, an STI test, and a paternity test at CVS.
That's hilarious.
And something about that made my heart smile.
That's progress. Begrudging, stuttering, expensive progress, but progress nonetheless. Take your wins.
Yeah. I mean, I would... What would be the perfect pricing for something? I would say $20, $25.
No, what makes a test for disease so useful is how easy it is to get.
Right.
Oh, like 20, like if this thing has to fucking make money because we live in the ninth circle of hell for the most part. Yeah. But honestly, to be effective, to do the right thing, things are free or damn nearly free.
They should be, but they're not. They're $100 at CVS.
Ew.
And if we're going to be capitalistic and still helpful, can we knock it down to 25?
Yes, yeah.
Like, we'll never get to a place where I can just walk up to a clinic and get one. But if we're going...
I don't know if stranger things have happened.
Right now, I can't. But if
right now, that's a pipe dream.
Right. But if we're going to have these things, can we bust them down from 100 to like 25, 30?
Yeah.
Because most of us can scrounge up at least that.
Exactly. Or have like insurance cover it.
Right.
It's like you'll still get your $20, $30, but it should be like $3 at point of sale.
Yeah, so there you go. If you need one, go to your local CVS. You can test for paternity, HIV, and STIs.
Well, that's in Los Angeles.
I figure if they have them here, they're probably in other places.
Yeah, I can think of some places they probably would not be.
They should be.
Or they're behind the counter and you have to like say a code word to get at them.
Well, these were behind the counter too. They were just like sitting right there. I just happened to be watching the lady get the... I was like, oh, COVID tests. What do they look like here? Oh, they're branded. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just being nosy and just happened to notice it. So they should be everywhere, though. You're right. Once Lisa got Chris all tested up, though, the sex was fantastical.
Of course. She's crazy.
She said it was some of the best sex she's ever had.
Yeah. He lacks the fear gene, and she's just straight up crazy. So
and you know what they say, a dick a day keeps the doctor away, bitch.
Yes,
and she definitely likes to get a dick a day. She said if she don't have sex at least once a day, she ain't right. Her day
She's not wrong.
If she don't get a good dick down at least every other day, her week is gonna be fucked up.
She has her moments of lucidity.
I mean, it would be nice, but it's like I got a day job, I got shit to do.
You can plan with enough planning. You can make it work.
True. But yeah, she was over the moon. The sex was great, and having a good sex life was important to Lisa. Fair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I won't begrudge her for being a horny lady.
Yeah.
I will begrudge her the lying, the cheating, and the murder. I will begrudge her that.
To the hilt.
Right. But Lisa also liked the challenge of trying to land a man that was almost 40 and had never been married.
Okay.
I mean, Chris is pretty...
It's a new trophy for the shelf.
Yeah, like, he's pretty much a pretty confirmed bachelor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he understands that his lifestyle is difficult.
Yeah.
He has no desire to change his lifestyle.
Yeah.
And if you can't keep up or it's too much for you, oh fucking well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because this is just what I do.
Yeah. I don't change for anybody.
Right. So you can get on all these adventures with me, which great, fun, fantastic.
Yes.
Or keep it pushing. So he's kind of not dickish, but
no, set in his ways.
Yeah.
He's just and he's not going to lie to anybody.
No. And so Lisa really liked the challenge of trying to nail down a confirmed bachelor. Mm-hmm. But what she really loved about Chris is how much they had in common. Mm. Much like Lisa, Chris wasn't really interested in college when he graduated high school. He graduated 1974. Mm-hmm. And he wanted to travel. But where Lisa would just have adventures, make up degrees, and just generally lie about every aspect of her life.
Yeah.
Chris was a hippie that traveled to California with friends and worked when he needed to and was semi-homeless until he was about 20, when he had a kind of crisis of the soul where he had to figure out, what am I going to do with my life?
Yeah.
So from 17, let's say, to 20, he's just out living like a dirty, filthy hippie of the 70s.
Like a hitchhiker.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And having a good time doing it.
Good for him.
When you could just...
That was the time you could do that.
When you could roll the streets without getting serious.
When you could roam the earth like David Banner and work in a restaurant for a week and have enough to keep you going for a month.
Yeah.
Until you roll into the next town.
Yeah, basically he lived...
Itinerant lifestyle, now extinct in America.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that's what he did from about 17 to 20. Mm. And around 20, he had sort of a crisis of the soul.
Yeah, Dark Night of the Soul?
Yes.
Yay. Crisis of faith. Dark Night of the Soul.
Yeah, and he needs to do something with himself. He's having a good time, but he realizes that he can't be directionless forever.
Quarter life crisis.
Yes. So he goes back to his native Bend, Oregon, and he enrolls in community college with a vague...
I'm sorry, I just had such a 14-year-old boy moment.
Bend, Oregon.
All right, now
you may as well bend it. It's the most racist state in the union. Bend it over fucking good.
True.
People
look it up, guys.
Yeah,
it's it's a matter of record.
Yeah, I think black people weren't allowed to live in Oregon until the 70s or some shit like that. Like some ridiculous amount of time that feels like it,
to the point it made Mormons uncomfortable.
Yeah, when you read and in Oregon black people couldn't live there, your brain goes 1855.
Right.
And then you look at the paper and it's 74.
Holy shit.
That feels like it's too soon, too modern, too right now. This should have been in 1850 something. Yes. It feels weird.
It feels like 1974 is just down the street, you could go visit it.
Right. And it's just very weird. It may not have been 1974. I just pulled that number out of my ass. But
it could be unofficially.
But it is still too modern.
Way too modern.
It is still too modern.
Yeah.
For that to be a factual statement.
Yes.
So Bend, Oregon. Yeah. Bend it over. So he went back to Bend and he went to community college and he had a vague notion of being a music major. Okay. He didn't know what he wanted to do in music, but he liked music. He grew up playing piano, sings a little, plays a little guitar.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll find something work. So when he was in community college, Chris invited his parents to a concert that the music department was putting on. His parents went, of course. Mm-hmm. They were expecting to see Chris play piano or guitar. They were shook to see Chris in the string section playing the violin.
Huh.
To this day, his parents do not know when, where, or how he learned to play the violin.
In community college.
No, but he was playing you play violin. Like, he wasn't just, like, scratchily playing, like,
Yeah.
oh.
Like, he had a talent for it.
Like, he enrolled in community college and he just started playing it scratchy. No, he was in the string section, keeping up.
I don't know, he might be, like, a savant.
It's never really explored, but what I found most striking was that his parents was like, what?
Yeah, he might be one of those, like, every, like, band teacher I ever had, they could play every instrument. Expertly? No, well enough to teach you.
But it was just funny that his parents were just like, when did he learn to do that?
I know, that's so cool.
I have literally lived with him his entire life.
Where did he pull this out of?
I paid for piano lessons.
Yeah.
I paid for soccer. I paid for everything he knows. When did this happen?
Yeah.
I don't remember paying for it. It's like his parents were like, did you pay for violin lessons? I don't remember paying for violin lessons. Did you pay for that?
He picked it up hitchhiking.
Probably, but it was just funny how shook his parents were by that. Funny. Oh boy, it's a lot. So by 1980, Chris had realized that he wanted to follow in his father's footsteps and become a pilot.
Oh, cool.
He worked odd jobs in an airfield so that he could afford flying lessons. Mm-hmm. And in March of 1980, Chris got his student pilot's license, and then 2 months later, he got a private pilot's license.
Nice.
And by the end of 1981, Chris would be a flight instructor and have his commercial pilot's license.
Smart guy. He seems to pick things up pretty quick.
Yeah, like, once he figured out what he wanted to do, that was it.
Yeah.
Like, his flight instructors were like, he wanted to know everything. Everything.
Good.
About
I want a curious pilot.
Yeah.
I want a voracious pilot.
So when he figured out what he wanted to do, he really threw his all into it.
Nice. Go, Chris.
So Chris flew charters and other types of private flights when he first started working. Mm-hmm. And this was all in service of getting towards his dream job, where he would be the captain of his own fleet or like the captain of his own plane. Chris would move from airline to airline, which each airline being a bigger job, bigger responsibility, until he got to Hawaiian Airlines. And this is where he finally makes good on his dream of wanting to become like a captain of his own DC-10. Mm-hmm. And like a lead captain that is in charge of other captains and other planes and shit like that. So
good for him.
He finally gets it when he is at that level, when he's finally at Hawaiian Airlines. Chris would spend 7 years in Hawaii, all told. Living in the beach house with the other series of pilots. Yeah. And and just like enjoying life, running, hiking, climbing trees.
Yeah, it sounds great.
He lived in so many interesting places. Anytime like a friend just wanted to come by, he had an open door policy. Yeah. He lives in some of the most beautiful places in the country, if not the world. He was always inviting people. Oh, he's going to be stationed in the Bahamas for a couple weeks. You should come through. And he would just have people over. That was kind of his jam. And
it's a great life.
Yeah, dating, flying, just having a good time.
Good for him. I'm glad he had such a wonderful run-up to this woman.
And during all of his adventures, Chris would date more than his share of women. Mm-hmm. Not everybody's serious. Yeah. They say he was always a perfect gentleman, even to the one-nighters. Mm-hmm. Fair. I'll let him have it.
Good for him.
None of the women that he dated got under his skin the way Liysa did. Nobody can figure out why.
She romanced him. We discussed this.
Well, true. But like
to his window.
But his friends aren't seeing that. His friends aren't seeing the grand...
Well, yeah, he's not going to giggle to them and tell them what she did.
Right. His friends aren't seeing the grand gestures of sneaking into his room. That's it. And that's what's doing it. But his friends aren't...
She's wild.
His friends aren't seeing that. Yeah. They're just seeing that
He's not going to tell him.
Right.
Where'd they go for her?
And he is the consummate gentleman.
Yes.
He had plenty of women in his life, but he never kissed and told.
Good for him.
So while it was clear to anyone with eyes that Chris and Lisa had a thing going on, when his friends would ask, Chris was like embarrassed of her.
Well, I mean, she's married.
Yeah.
Whatever cover story she gives, she is married.
Yeah. But any shame that he felt about fucking around with a married woman did not last long. Because this fool took out a $30,000 loan with his credit union to remodel a structure behind Lisa's house to turn into his bachelor pad.
Oh my God.
So he's basically living with her.
Yeah.
In the back
his little
house.
he shed.
Yeah. In his Sancho shed.
Sancho shed, yes.
She literally got her Sancho to take out a $30,000 loan to build a house behind her house. Live with me without living with me.
My magic pussy will do it to ya.
Man.
That is a magic pussy. Magical.
I don't know what it does. Like, does it talk?
Apparently.
Like,
it does it all. Cooking, cleaning, fold your clothes.
Does it wink? No, it doesn't do any of that.
Okay.
We'll talk about it in a minute, but what of Chris's frustrations with Lisa?
Not her.
I don't know. If she doesn't do it, the pussy may not do it either.
Yeah, it makes you not care.
Yeah. One of his frustrations, Lisa, is that she's not a housekeeper. And she's not domestic or anything at all. We'll talk about it in a little bit, but another one of her grand gestures is writing him letters.
Oh, okay. Ooh, she's good at that.
And in a lot of her letters, she talks about wanting to be she doesn't say trad wife because she didn't have that language, but she talks about wanting to have that more traditional family and wanting that. And that's another thing that he likes. Here's this independent person that doesn't need me and can go off and do her own adventures, but wants to hold it down for somebody.
Yeah. It's very flattering.
He finds out when it's too late that it was all a lie. But anyway, Chris may have paid for the renovations for the Side Piece Hotel.
Yes.
But Lisa charged his ass rent.
No.
$1,000 a month.
Oh my God.
A bargain at twice the price.
Man.
Did I mention that he took out a $30,000 loan to build the Sancho Hotel? He has to pay.
Criminal genius here.
He has to pay a $30,000 loan.
Her side piece is paying her.
Yeah.
Oh, I begrudge her. That's hysterical. And I begrudge her.
$1,000 a month.
Chris.
For the Side Piece Hotel that he built.
Yeah.
Chris built that shit.
He is paying her for it.
She also charged him for food. Like, because he travels and stuff so much, he doesn't really buy groceries.
Yeah.
So anytime he comes into the main house and she makes him dinner, that'll be $50.
Nickel and diming.
Yes.
Oh my God.
And they're dating. They're a couple.
Yeah.
They're a thing. He may be living in the Side Piece Hotel in the backyard.
Yes.
But they are...
They are one.
They
are as one.
Yeah. Meanwhile, her ex-boyfriend and his whole family are living across the street and 2 houses over. They ain't saying shit.
No. They don't want that crazy to come
They
back
ain't
here.
saying shit about how fucking nutty he is. But Tim's mother is watching her out the window, clutching her like old lady nightgown, like,
I don't blame them for not wanting to get involved. Although I think you should gossip to everybody.
Keep an eye on that house.
Yeah. Stay away from my son.
Yeah. Oh, she watched her like a hawk.
Yeah.
And honestly, the balls of this woman to move back into that neighborhood.
I know.
After all of that.
Zero empathy. Like, she has no ability to identify with other people.
The absolute gall to move that. I would.
Yeah.
I feel weird when I just...
You have feelings? What?
Just drive into a neighborhood that I used to live in. It feels weird sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
When you don't live there anymore, it's like, oh.
Yeah.
This is where I used to be all the time.
No. But to, like, also be a neighborhood where your exes are. It's like you're not
No
part
shame.
of their lives.
No
anymore.
shame. No shame.
Yeah.
You know, all she saw was that cute little fixer-upper that was next to the beach.
And I know this neighborhood. It's mine.
Now, because Nick was gone on this long assignment to Tahiti when Chris and Lisa are able to date fairly openly. But all good things must come to an end, and Nick eventually came back home. Needless to say that he was shocked to find that his wife was virtually living with what he would find out later is her affair partner.
Yeah.
In the Sancho Hotel.
Yes.
The fucking Sanky Panky Hotel.
Yes.
No, he's not a Sanky Panky. She would be the Sanky Panky. Sanky Panky is like a Dominican slang for like a gigolo or a guy that takes advantage of women. I guess it could go the opposite way too, but if you're...
No, she's definitely taking advantage of him.
Yeah, so she would be the Sanky Panky.
Yes.
Even though I think in the Dominican it's mostly a term for men, but fuck it. I'm going to make her a Sanky Panky.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just also like saying Sanky Panky.
This wonderful phrase.
But it's like, how did she get him to take out a loan and pay her rent at the same time?
And he seems happy to do it.
He didn't complain.
Man.
He did not complain.
Magic.
And when Nick came back home, he realized what was going on. Like,
yeah.
Okay, great. Maybe Lisa had said in a letter or something that, you know, she was going to remodel the back house, but she didn't say how it was being paid for or that her Sancho was going to move into it. And when Nick gets back home, the chemistry, the tension between Chris and Lisa is there. So he figures this out.
Yeah, fairly quickly.
Yeah. And that's actually the first inclination that Nick had that his marriage was over.
Oh, bless.
I told you, he thought it was fine.
Yeah.
They are unconventional people running an unconventional company. He expects for their lives to be unconventional.
Yeah.
So he didn't think anything was wrong because in the framework of how they live, it's not a big deal. You know, until you move your Sancho into
I know, right?
your back house. So knowing that there was nothing really left of their relationship, Nick and Lisa started the process of dividing their property and working a livable co-parenting situation.
Yeah.
Lisa was delighted that Nick was not going to fight hard to keep their marriage together. She had been nagging at him, like the minute he touched down, we need to split, he needed to split. And he was like, but let's work it out, let's do this.
Yeah.
And she just finally, between Chris's presence and her constant whining, just like how she whines to get him to buy real estate, she whines at him to get the divorce.
Good for him, dude. Good for you. You escaped. You don't know it yet, but you escaped.
I mean, she needs Nick out so that she can convince Chris to marry her. Because she doesn't just want to bang him.
Yeah. She
needs,
wants to capture him.
Yes. She needs it to be permanent and real.
Yeah.
So while Nick is working on some of the details of their divorce, Lisa was putting a charm offensive on Chris's friends' family. And while some of Chris's friends really liked Lisa, she is capable of making a very good first impression.
I mean, obviously.
There were more than a few that said that there was something about Lisa that put their teeth on edge. One of his friends said that Lisa, even though she came across as friendly, when you really sat down and talked to her, it's like she wasn't there.
Yeah.
That you could tell she was just going through the motions.
Yeah.
She really doesn't give a shit about you or what you have to say or whatever. She really doesn't fucking care.
Yeah.
But she understands that she needs to be polite and go through the motions and put on a good show. And that's the vibes they got from her. They could tell that she was basically a void. And that there was no there.
Yeah. She's a void. Yeah.
For other people, the fact that Lisa talked about sex constantly was very off-putting.
Yeah.
According to some of Chris's friends, Liysa talked about sex more than anybody that they knew, and that includes 13-year-old boys.
That's a lot.
Like, she shared intimate details of her and Chris's sex life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the size and strength of the equipment.
Yes.
Apparently,
Stuff your friends want to know.
yeah, you know, apparently the dick is dicking.
Yeah.
The dick is dicking, and it's dicking well.
She's enjoying it.
And she will tell everybody about it.
God.
Ooh, we did butt stuff this time. Da, 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 da. Like,
God, what a contrast to him, Mr. No Kiss and Tell.
yeah, and she's just telling everybody their business.
Yeah.
So let me tell you about his left nut.
Yeah.
Like, and it was very off-putting to some of his friends because
Well, some people like I think we all have a threshold to where like I don't mind dirty talk because it's funny, it's interesting, but there does come a point where it's like, whoa.
Yeah, and there's a difference between like a little hot goss, like, okay, I hooked up with so-and-so and this is what happened.
Yeah.
And just in casual conversation with people that you don't know well,
Yeah.
who are the friends of your future partner, you're like, so let me tell you what that dick do.
Right?
That's fucking weird.
Yeah, that is.
And she's on that, let me tell you what this dick do type shit. And it's
beyond
fucking
TMI.
And it's weird and it's off-putting. But eventually Liysa grows more secure in her relationship with Chris.
Mm-hmm.
And the more secure she is in the relationship, she slowly just stops interacting with his friends altogether.
Like, I'm done.
Yeah, shouldn't need to be
I got him.
Shouldn't need to be cordial with
I have
them.
no need to impress you anymore.
She's cordial 99% of the time. She can put up a nice front.
Mm-hmm.
But after a while, they just quit seeing her.
Mm-hmm.
Because she stops coming around. But she was perfectly charming to Chris's parents when they met her.
Mm.
And they loved Liysa. They were like, oh, our little boy finally found the one. This is it.
Yeah. They've been waiting a while.
Like, getting Chris, charming his friends and family is one thing.
Yeah.
But convincing Chris to marry her
right?
is a very different beast.
Yeah.
It does not matter how many of his friends and family like her or dislike her.
Yeah.
Chris is very much his own dude.
Yeah.
And if he don't want to get married right now, he don't want to get married.
Yeah.
Bottom line, end of story.
Yeah.
And that's what she's working against.
Yeah.
And I kind of think that that's also why she stopped the charm offensive.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't moving the needle.
Yeah.
He cares what his friends think.
Yeah, but it's not going to be the thing to overcome his objections.
Right.
Yeah.
And so once the charm offensive didn't work.
Yeah. Why do it?
Yeah. Didn't matter how many times his parents were like, oh yeah, she might.
Yeah.
Didn't matter.
The utility is done.
And then on top of that, one of the reasons that he doesn't want to get married is that in spite of having a very large, robust, and active friends and family group,
Mm-hmm.
Chris is pretty much a loner at heart. He is one of those people that needs a lot of personal space.
Yeah. Well, it makes sense to be like a bachelor that long.
And as much as he loves to, running, jumping, hunting, climbing trees, all that stuff, I would say 80% of the time he does that by himself.
Yeah.
Yes, he goes hiking and riding with friends and stuff like that, and he enjoys it. But he really does like to be alone.
Yeah.
And that's where he, does his best thinking or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of his girlfriends would say that, buried the lead on this one, but Chris's need for personal space was almost worse to deal with than his travel schedule.
Okay.
Because it's like, yay, you've been gone for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And now you're going to go fucking on a 5-mile hike.
Yeah.
By yourself.
Yep.
Without me.
Yeah. Boo.
And I'm excited to see you.
Yeah.
And you're just...
You need some time alone.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was almost as difficult to deal with as the...
I can see that.
And it's one of the bigger reasons that most of his long-term relationships failed.
Yeah,
it was
sense.
either couldn't keep up with the spontaneity travel schedule, or his need for that level of personal space was just too much for them.
Yeah. Which, fair.
Yeah, but as a person that needs a lot of personal space on her own, I get there are ways to accommodate that and keep a relationship.
Yeah. But ideally, you find someone else who also, like, values their alone time as much.
Yeah.
And is cool with that space.
Or somebody that, like, can let you be alone while you're together.
Yeah.
You know, they're watching TV or whatever, and you can just sit there and read a book.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes those comfortable silences are wonderful.
Or just be secure.
Yeah.
And just be okay with time apart.
But Liysa was so thirsty to marry Chris. She told him everything that he needed to hear to feel like Liysa would be the perfect wife for him.
Yeah.
And this is where she's writing those letters about how, yes, I'm adventurous and I love that we can have these adventures together, but I also just want to hold down the fort.
Yeah.
And be a trad wife.
Yeah.
And we can hike and fish and whatever when you're home, and I love that about us, but what I really want is to hold it down for you.
I am your fantasy.
I
am your fantasy.
It's just a fantasy. And like, Chris's parents are very much like a trad wife sort of thing. And he admires their relationship. His parents have been married for 30 some odd years and counting. And he admires that, and he does want something like that.
Yeah, makes sense.
But in his own way. But he does want that kind of partnership.
Yeah.
And so she's just telling him everything that, I'm the perfect surfer trad wife.
Yeah.
Because I can surf with you.
Everything you're looking for, trust me.
I can surf with you and swim to 3 Mile Island with you and do all of the stuff and kayak and travel and everything. And when we're at home, it's fucking homemade biscuits and apple pie.
Yes.
In a Donna Reed dress. And Liysa seems to be supremely confident that once she wears Chris down and she's able to marry him, his need for personal space and some of his weird little peccadillos will go away.
Yeah. Marriage will fix him.
Oh, yeah.
That works out. Every time.
Oh, yeah. And when she wasn't love bombing Chris with all of these letters, I mean, she's going in hard. Like, it's the kind of romantic fluff that, like, it makes you feel needed, desired, guilty, and loved all at the same time. She was really good at pressing Chris's guilt button.
Yeah. She's well practiced at this.
Yeah.
Because I think this is how she probably does almost every guy.
Probably.
This is her technique.
And probably most men, like we already said, are not used to this kind of love bomb.
And they are vulnerable to it. Because it feels good.
Yeah. And when she wasn't love bombing Chris, she was also writing letters to Nick. But these letters weren't romantic. These letters were to dictate the terms of their property splits and their co-parenting agreements. In her letters, Liysa would tell Nick things like, it was in his best interest to make sure that your parents still like me, even after we split. Also, I need to make sure that your parents remain debtors on the property that they helped us buy.
Yeah.
Because I ain't got no money to make those payments. Nick, you need to handle that. She also wants full sole physical custody of their son. She demanded that Nick's parents could only visit their son when Nick was around, so only supervised visits, which is very weird because she always had a good relationship with Nick's parents. She had a great relationship with her in-laws. But now that they're divorced.
Yeah. Well, she's a piece of shit.
It's so
and the control
fucking
games
weird.
Begin.
Yeah. Yeah, she can't afford to make her payments on all of their properties, so Nick needs to handle that. Lisa would also be in charge of working out a child support formula for Nick and what he has to pay, along with the visitation schedule. And like I said, she wanted his friends to be friendly with her, but they can't see the kid unless Nick or her is there to supervise. But Lisa wasn't totally unfair.
Oh, yeah?
No, she agreed that they should share the cost of their son's education equally, but on a sliding scale based on their income. But equally. On a sliding scale.
Yes.
Based on their income.
Yeah.
Guess who's always going to make more?
Oh, him, of course.
Right. And even if
She's
he
probably
doesn't...
not even counting the rent her son is paying.
No. No, that's actually...
That's her money.
Strictly her money. And Nick does really good. He makes about $15,000 a month.
Okay.
Lisa, while she's a very good surf and underwater photographer, she is not the artur that Nick is. So she brings in, let's say, $5,000 a month.
Okay. Yeah.
So there is, even though they're in the same business, there's definitely
there's a difference.
In the types of money that their projects can demand. So there's that. Lisa also said that they should split their photography business in half, but Lisa would get all the royalties from her photographs, and she was the only person allowed to negotiate contracts for their work.
Okay, lady. Okay, crazy.
She also wants all of the royalties from the airport book that they published, that picture book. And they could work together on select projects on a project-by-project basis. Of course, she would want the lion's share of whatever that project is. And Lisa also demanded that if her end of the business did not make a minimum of $400 per month, Nick would pay her the difference of whatever that is.
Yeah.
So if she only made $100, then he needs to come through with another $300.
Yeah. Okay.
And she also needs $600 a month for child support. See? Not completely unreasonable. Not at all.
Man.
Now, as she's dictating these terms, she figures that once the ink on this divorce is dry, Chris is going to snap it down and put a ring on it.
Yeah.
But much to her chagrin, even once the divorce was finished, Chris was not eager to marry her. In fact, it seemed like Lisa being single made him fall back a bit. Well, because now it's real.
Yeah.
Now there are going to be demands placed on him that he may or may not be ready for.
True.
Or interested in. You know, so he did fall back a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Lisa was always able to reel him back in. Some promises of apple pie and puss.
Right?
And Lisa tried to keep Chris on a tight leash. She was very jealous of him. She felt that keeping him on a tight leash would somehow push him into wanting to marry her. Like if she alienates him from everybody else, then she's all he's got.
Yep.
Like, one of the things that she hated is that so Chris is a big dude, right? He's like 6'3",
yes,
200 and some odd pounds. And that's a big person to be in that itty bitty cockpit.
Yeah, it is.
For anywhere from 8 to 10 hours at a time, depending on how long of a flight he's on. That's a lot of scrunched up.
Yeah.
And so what Chris likes to do after he lands, he doesn't go straight home. Chris prefers to take a bike ride.
Yeah, makes sense.
Maybe do some yoga, go on a run.
Yeah.
Basically, he'll take, let's say, 40 minutes, an hour to exercise right after he lands.
Yeah.
And then goes home. Now, and he did this because that little quick workout kept him limber Sitting down in those cockpits like that, your body hurts.
Yeah, absolutely.
He needs to stretch out. And so a nice run or bike ride, a good workout, stretched his muscles out, made him feel better, was good for his mental health.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Liysa insisted he needed to come home directly after his flight. And now she's demanding that they have a baby. They did have one possible miscarriage, but Liysa is a dirty fucking lying liar that lies.
True.
So it's possible that they miscarried. It's also possible that she was never pregnant at all.
True.
A lot of things are possible.
Yeah.
At one point, Chris says that they had a stillborn, but he wasn't allowed to go with her.
Okay, yeah, very suspicious.
To the hospital.
Yeah.
And at the time that she said that she was pregnant, she did pick up weight. But one day she had to go to California for a doctor's appointment. She came back, no baby. No pregnancy.
Yeah.
So it could have been an abortion.
Who knows? Tummy tuck.
All I know is Chris is under the impression that they had a child and it miscarried some kind of way.
Yeah. Could be.
And, he wasn't over the moon about wanting to be a parent after that.
Yeah.
And he would rather focus his energy on being a good stepdad. He's inheriting like a 5-year-old.
Yeah, true.
Let me do this.
Yeah, let that fulfill me. Yeah.
But Liysa and Chris were... You know what? They're in a nasty place. Because she's love bombing.
Yes.
She's throwing.
Oh, yeah.
Throwing.
Every manipulation tactic.
And sometimes he sees it. He's not completely snowed. Like, some of the more extreme things that she does, he's like, all right, that's weird.
Yeah.
And so while she's weird enough that he's a little bit wary and not ready to jump into marriage, he's not ready to leave her either. And after 26 days of Keith Sweat, Jodeci level begging,
Yes.
Liysa and Chris were finally wed 26
No
days
way.
after her divorce was final.
That's some magic nagging.
She was just up there, baby, I'm begging, baby, I'm begging, begging, baby, baby, I'm begging, baby, I'm begging, begging, begging.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only thing. That is like Jodeci Keith Sweat level begging.
Yeah. Yep.
Letter writing. She's doing the whole shit.
Yes.
And in 26 days,
Dang.
he consented to marry her.
That is some manipulation.
She is good at this game.
Right?
Like, horrifyingly good at
I
this game.
I know. This should not be, and yet here we are.
So for some reason, Chris seemed to think that being married to Liysa would suddenly turn her into a good housekeeper.
Oh, jeez.
Remember, I said they're projecting things on each other that they're not talking about.
Nope.
Liysa's house is a mess. She's 2 trash bags away from being a full-blown hoarder. I mean, dishes in the sink.
Yeah.
You got to make a path. Toys everywhere.
Yeah.
Not full on just trash thrown all over the floor, but definitely disorganized, kid toys everywhere.
Cluttered.
The baby just takes his clothes off. They take their clothes off and just throw them on the ground.
Yeah.
Bikinis everywhere, just very unorganized. And Chris is he's not a neat freak, but he's definitely
not used to that.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was embarrassed to have people over to the house.
Mm.
But thankfully, he still had his sankey-panky pad in the back.
Yes, a sanctuary.
And he could go there and take a break from the clutter
Yeah.
from time to time.
Oof.
And Lisa, like I said, is incredibly jealous of Chris and his friends.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime Chris went out, she watched him like a fucking hawk. Especially if there were women around.
Mm-hmm.
Once, when Chris found out that one of his first loves had passed away from cancer, he was upset. He was really upset. He was heartbroken.
Yeah.
But he didn't go to the funeral.
Mm.
They had been broken up for over 20-something years.
Yeah.
He still remembered her fondly, but she had remarried, had children, yada, yada,
Yeah.
yada, yada,
Yeah.
yada. And it would just be weird to have a random ex-boyfriend show up at the funeral. So he sent a card, but kept his condolences surface and cried privately at home. Lisa went to the funeral.
She did? What?
She had never met this woman. Didn't know her from a can of paint.
Yeah.
She just was curious to see what kind of women he was with.
Oh my God.
Before her.
Oh my God. Yikes.
Yeah, she just wanted to know more about somebody that Chris had shared. And she was one of his serious relationships.
Yeah.
That the travel and stuff put a damper on.
That's crazy jealousy. Being jealous of a ghost?
Oh, yeah.
Fighting with a ghost.
She's jealous of a dead woman.
Jesus.
This dead woman had your husband's dick 20 years ago.
I must investigate her. That is,
It's a mess. I'm like, why would you go to a strange woman?
I know. That is so, sorry, it's mentally ill. This is a strange kind of fixation, obsession.
And what did she tell those people? Who did she say she was?
Oh, I don't know. But she's so comfortable with lying. Oh, we were roommates in college.
She pulled something out of her ass, I'm sure. But I'm like, how do you...
Or she just ignored them.
How do you even tell people? So, my husband dated her like 25 years ago. And he was really upset.
Yes, so I had to have a look at her.
And he felt that it was inappropriate because the relationship was so long ago that I just wanted it.
Yeah.
Like, Chris was the kind of guy, like I said this earlier, he had an open door policy. Wherever he lived, his friends and family were welcome.
Yeah.
And because he did so much traveling and lived in so many exotic locales, he is the friend that everybody wants to visit on vacation because he's someplace cool.
Yes, and a good time.
Oh, that changed once Lisa came into the picture.
Oh, no doubt. Oh, it was a good run, Chris.
No, none of that. When he did have his friends over, because he did try it, you know. I mean, according to all her letters, she should be fine with it.
Yeah.
Right? Some of Chris's friends came into town, came to Hawaii for a visit, because Hawaii is excellent.
Yes.
And their friends would notice that Lisa would come home at night, and she would sleep in the bed, whatever. But they would never see her. She was actively avoiding seeing his friends.
Yeah.
So she would come back home in the evening when Chris and the friends were out and then lock herself in the bedroom. When they come back from whatever they're doing, it's clear that she is home or has been home.
Yeah.
They might even hear her upstairs.
Yeah.
But she doesn't come down to say hello or anything.
Weird.
And then the next day, they'll get up, and there'll be like a cereal bowl in the sink, and coffee will be made.
Yeah.
So clearly she got up.
Yeah.
But she's nowhere to be found. And they won't see her for the whole of the day. And she was like that during her entire trip. They're like, is this bitch actively avoiding saying hello to us?
I mean, yes.
Yes, she is, but it was so...
That is weird.
Fucking weird, because that's a lot.
Yeah.
of, I'm going to get up at 6 a.m. because I don't want to see these people.
I know, right?
Okay, they're going snorkeling at 10.
Yeah.
I can come back home by 11 and I'll just lock myself in the room.
Yeah.
So fucking weird.
It really is. What the hell?
Yeah.
I wonder why it was like so painful for her. Why are these people like
I think
driving her that crazy?
Didn't want to share Chris's attention.
Mm-hmm.
And when his friends are around, especially if they're people visiting from out of town, she's not the center of his universe in that moment.
Yeah.
And she can't stand it.
Wow. I can't imagine being that weak. I can't imagine being so dependent on another person's anything in order to feel whole or content or like to get through my day.
Yeah, it's weird. She is, for all of her spontaneity and let's go do all these fun surfer adventure things, she needs somebody that can hang on her every word, that thinks that her farts are brilliant.
Yeah. That is so unfortunate. I mean, that just sounds crippling.
That's what happens when you're a void.
Yes. Sucking empty void.
Now, for her part, Lisa's favorite part of being married to Chris was the sex. And free flights.
Okay, yeah, that is nice. That's a nice perk.
She gets to fly almost anywhere on the planet for free as long as she's married to Chris.
How ironic that that's what she likes out of him. She doesn't like him for him. She likes the sex. And free flights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Lisa said that her and Chris had the most perfect sex life. Like, of all time.
I'm happy for him.
And, of course, she tells their friends, his friends, anybody that cares to sit around and listen about the
yeah.
And Chris, he's having a good time being married.
Mm-hmm.
It was slow going at first, but eventually he does become actually a very good stepdad.
Okay.
It's a little bit of a learning curve for him to realize that children aren't just miniature adults.
Yeah.
And, to learn how to talk to them, deal with them.
Mm-hmm.
No, the house isn't haunted. That's just a cat going into a closet. It did sound like the house was haunted for a second. Yeah. I think it's Talia going into the closet because I left the door.
Because I must explore.
And luckily there's nothing in there for them to get in trouble with, so they're just going to check out the clutter.
I know, but kitties are so funny how curious they are. They're like, I gotta know.
I was in the shower earlier today, and Talia just came and opened up the bathroom door.
Yeah.
She didn't want anything. She just came in, jumped on top of the toilet, looked at me like, we don't close doors.
Exactly.
And then left. It was so funny.
Tabs, all times.
But, Chris is a good stepdad. He does really grow into truly loving her son.
That's nice.
And if she was a little less batshit,
yeah,
the three of them could have created a really good co-parenting dynamic if she was just a little less nuts.
Yeah.
But over time, the talk about how great their sex life was replaced with Lisa's grievances.
Mm-hmm.
And that Lisa just was frustrated with Chris constantly.
Yeah.
When a friend asked Lisa why would she bother marrying Chris if she fucking hated him so much?
Right?
Because they're married not even a year, and she's like, he's breathing in and out, taking air into his lungs. Ugh. His jaw clicks when he chews.
He keeps popping his gum.
Yeah, he keeps eating food with his mouth. It drives me nuts.
Yeah.
They're like, dude, if you can't stand living with the guy and he's so awful.
Yeah. What were you thinking?
She needs free flights. Free flights.
And I must be with someone. I was done with the other one. Duh.
And this one has free flights.
Yeah.
Yet,
it's a challenge.
Through all of this, Lisa's demanding that her and Chris have a child. She can't stand him.
Yeah.
She's only with him for the free airfare.
Exactly.
But now she needs a child.
Now.
And Chris and Liysa were both over the moon when she got pregnant, and their son Dane was born
Aw.
on May 20th, 1997.
Welcome, Dane.
And Chris, he was one of those guys that he never wanted kids.
Mm-hmm.
He was just like, yeah, no, it's not for me.
Yeah.
But he is one of those people that, and to me, these types of people seem to be exceedingly rare, at least in my experience. A person that is adamant that about not wanting kids,
Mm-hmm.
and then when they have their oopsie baby,
Yeah.
they find nothing but joy and purpose
Oh, that's nice.
in parenthood.
Yay.
A joy and a purpose that they didn't even realize that they needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or that they
Oh,
wanted.
good for them.
And that's where Chris is.
That's nice.
I know I have at least one really good friend that was her parenting
Mm.
experience.
That's nice.
That, like, she never wanted it.
Yeah.
And in her early 20s had an oopsie.
Yeah.
And yeah, the way she pours into that, he's long since an adult, but
yeah.
the way she pours into that kid and the way she loves the kid, she's like, motherhood is the best thing that I never knew I wanted.
Oh, that's nice. I like it when it works out for people.
Yeah, I just feel like people like that seem to be exceedingly rare.
Yeah.
I know more people that, like, didn't want kids and secretly resent them.
Oh,
than
yeah.
they do their best. I'm not saying they don't love them.
Of course they do, but...
But they secretly wish they would have...
Yeah.
Or at least secret to their kids.
Yeah, yeah.
Secretly wish that they would have taken the other road.
Yeah.
Not this one.
Yeah.
If they could do it all over again, those little bastards may not exist.
Bless them. Bless their hearts.
Which, you know, but he thankfully is the former and not the latter.
Yay.
But Liysa, like I said, she's still frustrated even though she's got a kid.
Yeah.
Right?
You can't fill a void. You can't.
Sure, he's a good dad.
Mm-hmm.
Great dad. And he's a great stepfather.
Mm-hmm.
He really, really is. But Chris isn't the wonderful husband that Liysa imagined that he would be. And this is what I was talking about. They are projecting shit on each other.
Yeah.
In Chris's case, Liysa flat out lied
Yes.
about the trad wife and wanting this very traditional style relationship, yada, 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 yada. Chris quickly learns that is not true.
Yeah. In any way, shape, or form.
He learns to adjust and he deals with it. But I'd be lying if he wasn't a little bit disappointed.
Yeah.
Right? But for Liysa, she wanted Chris to be the kind of husband that hung on her every word, that thought everything that she did was brilliant, that she was this ethereal goddess that had all these wonderful ideas and farts sunshine and pisses peppermint and, you know, she's just this beautiful, you know,
you're obsessed with me,
Aphrodite type figure. But Chris was like himself.
Yeah.
The same person he'd always been. Even though Chris is a nice guy, a sensitive guy, an emotionally intelligent guy, he can be aloof.
Oh, sure. He likes to be alone.
Especially if he's got a problem or something. He's not the kind of guy that's going to come up to you and say, hey, I got a problem.
Yeah.
He's really going to sit there and stew and try to work it out himself until everything else is a wall, and then maybe he'll ask for help.
Yeah.
But, yeah. And his tendency for wanting a lot of personal space didn't change.
Yeah. Yeah, she lied to herself about him.
Yeah.
She lied to him and she lied to herself.
And he is either unable or unwilling to give her the endless, constant attention and the compliments that she craves. Yeah. And he's also a bit more of a realist. And he doesn't blow smoke up her ass like Nick did. Like when her and Nick are on, you know, she's still on this real estate shit. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So when her and Nick first started building up their real estate portfolio, she wants a ranch. I think we talked about this a little bit in episode 1.
Yes.
She wants a ranch in Oregon.
Yes.
And she wants to start some sort of retreat
Yeah.
or women's shelter or yoga
Healing
studio.
ranch.
Yeah, whatever.
The women's healing ranch.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what she wants to do. Now, where Nick would be like, I'll invest in the property, but I'm just going to let you stew about your fantasy plans. But I do think this is a good investment.
Yeah.
Or would say, this is not a good investment and just leave her to fantasize her plans.
Mm-hmm.
Chris would be like, look, that property may be a good investment, but I don't see you opening a retreat.
Yeah.
How are you going to open a retreat when you're still running your photography business, doing
Yeah.
this? You got the kids, yada, yada, yada. How are you going to make this work?
Be real.
Until you can tell me how it's going to work, I'm not on board.
Yeah.
And she just wants him to, oh my God, babe, you would change the world and heal all these women and domestic violence or whatever would be a thing of the past once you do this. That's what she wants.
Yeah, she wants him to she wants him to buy into her fantasy. She doesn't ever want to leave fantasy land.
No.
Ever.
Mm-mm. Never in life. Now, Chris didn't like to fight. He's very non-confrontational.
Yeah.
I mean, he understands that in a marriage or any long-term relationship, disagreements and fights happen. But he's more the type of person that if you have a disagreement and it seems like it's escalating, he'll leave the room and come back in a couple of hours or in a few days when cooler heads can prevail. And Lisa just wants to fight.
Yeah.
Fight like a badger. Little honey badger. Like,
Yeah.
And the fact that he will walk away from her and he will not engage in the fights just drives her up the wall.
That has to be like torture for her.
Yeah.
You're just taking your attention away from me?
Yeah, it drives her fucking nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, it drives, we'll talk about this a little bit more in the next episode, but it drives her so nuts that she's punching holes in the walls.
Whoa. Jesus Christ. That's
We'll
terrifying.
talk more about that later.
Yeah.
But like,
Ooh.
an argument starts. Chris is like, okay, this is escalating. He fucks off. He leaves. She's screaming and punching holes in the walls.
Dang. Yikes. Yikes.
When Chris would come back from wherever he went, Lisa would just keep the bullshit going. And once she called him, she actually, not even once, one of her favorite insults, and they had a disagreement, was to call Chris a neurotic, narcissistic Jew.
What a cunty thing to say.
Her first husband, the college husband,
Yeah.
he was Jewish, and she would throw that one at him whenever they would have a disagreement.
Yeah.
And Chris is not Jewish, by the way. But the insult was...
How weird.
Oh, it gets weirder. The insult was revived because she found out that one of Chris's first girlfriends was Jewish.
Oh my
So
God.
Chris is a neurotic, narcissistic Jew because at some point in his life, he dated a Jewish girl.
God damn, Adolf. That's deep. That is deep. Dang. Even Hitler's like, whoa, baby. Wow. That is... Woo. Wow, you made that a connection, didn't you?
That is some... I mean,
Dang.
it was a horrible insult for her ex-husband.
Yes.
But what revives it is so batshit that I can't even
really
be mad that
is.
she called him that.
It's so bizarre.
Because Chris dated a Jewish girl.
I think you're right about her dad. Because that is some, deep cuts racism.
Yeah, I can't prove it.
Ooh.
But I think her dad was an emotionally unavailable racist.
I know, it's like, if you once loved a Jew, you are now a Jew. Das ist some rules. You date one, you are one.
But it's
God.
It's like, damn, that is intense.
Wow.
for reasons that it doesn't need to be.
Yeah. It's
Like,
so weird.
He could just be a neurotic, narcissistic asshole. Like, you could
Which is
stop right.
pure projection.
Right, but you could stop there.
Yeah.
You didn't have to throw in the Jewish part. You could have stopped it
Right.
at neurotic, narcissistic.
No, I need to add a slur.
Right.
And Norwegian isn't a slur.
Yeah, Swede's not a slur, so
I mean, it depends on how you say it, I think. We could make Swede a slur. But I think she wanted a slur.
I don't know, but the Swedes and the Swiss, they're so laid back, they would not even care.
They wouldn't.
Whatever, who cares?
I mean, I think that really depends on what kind of inflection you put on it. If you can pour some hatred into Swede.
Now, Liysa could be all kinds of cruel to Chris. And that vitriol, though, never spilled over to their sons.
Yeah. Controlled crazy. I respect it less.
The kids are her reason for being. Like, she dotes on them, she homeschools them.
Oh, Jesus.
If either of them show an interest in anything, she's gonna take them to the ends of the earth to go see the thing, and she's big on enrichment. She is really I mean, I know it's like 97, 98. She's like a proto crunchy mom.
It sounds like.
You know, before we started calling them crunchy moms, right?
Yeah,
she's a proto crunchy mom. Yet, even though she was very involved with their children, she expected Chris to pick up more than his fair share of slack when he wasn't working. Which would not be a problem if she wasn't Liysa.
Yeah. Yeah.
Liysa felt that in the big scheme of things, Chris's job as a pilot is insignificant and pedestrian compared to her work as a surf and dive photographer.
Oh, God. Ooh, that is insecure.
And because of that, Chris needed to be there to babysit and take care of the kids when her so important work required her to travel.
See, she did want a traditional marriage, but she's got the pants. She's the important one. She's the head of the family. And he needs to make her a sandwich.
He is but the neck that turns the head.
Exactly. Watch these children make me a sandwich.
And when there was a conflict, because remember, they both travel a lot, right? Her doing the surf photography thing, because that really is the only job she has right now. And him doing the pilot thing. Yeah. And so I think it goes without saying that conflict is going to pop up. Yeah. Somebody got to stay home with these fucking kids, but he has a 6-hour flight from Hawaii to New Jersey or whatever. Yeah. And she's supposed to be in Barbados to film a surf competition. Yeah. Somebody, where the fuck we gonna put these fucking kids? And when there was conflict and Liysa couldn't, and they had to like hire a sitter or something, Liysa would complain to her friends that Chris couldn't be trusted to be there for me when I need him. No. Yeah. We both have jobs that require travel. Exactly. And you probably shouldn't have added any more kids to this.
Right? Psycho.
Well, because at least with the oldest, there is a dad to co-parent with and a third adult that you could make arrangements with. You know, but whatever. Yeah. Lisa's ex-husband, Nick, became the reluctant sounding board for all of Lisa's issues with Chris.
Nick. Oh, I'm sorry.
He would tell her straight up that I am not here to talk about your marital problems.
Yeah, right?
We need to talk about our son and whatever the issue at hand is with him. Yeah. Don't give a fuck about your marriage. Yeah. Bitch, you left me. Give a fuck. Yeah. Didn't stop her.
Of course not.
She's gonna keep going. They were married less than a year, and Chris is a thorn in Lisa's side already. Less than a year.
I know. That's what happens when you lie to yourself.
Man, like I said, there's all sorts of things that they're projecting on each other. Yeah. Although Lisa's more of a liar.
Yes.
And his projections on Lisa are based on her.
Yeah, her lies.
So she just is...
Because if he knew the real her, he would have just been like, no, we're just fuck buddies.
Yeah.
And he would have like kept that boundary, and I don't know. She would have just stayed like in courtship mode forever.
Until she found somebody else,
exactly. Until she moved on.
So while Nick was a reluctant ear for all of Lisa's gripes, the women that Lisa met in her birthing and water classes were a rapt audience. She could spin a web.
Yeah.
This bitch can spin a yarn. Much like with her first pregnancy, Lisa made use of all of the birthing classes and the community of moms.
Yeah.
New moms, older moms, whatever.
Yeah.
In these expecting mothers groups. And because she is one of the older, and by older, she's in her middle 30s by the 90s.
Yeah.
A lot of the women in her little mommy groups maybe only have one kid.
Yeah.
And she, is on kid number 2, and she's older than some of these women. And so she gives like the sage advice.
Yes.
And she, in a lot of ways, she looks like the perfect mom. Like, she has it all. She's got the career. She's got the husband. She's got the babies. Yada, yada, yada. And she makes it all look so easy.
Yeah.
So she's got a lot of fans.
Yeah, I can see that.
In her mommy groups.
Yeah.
And those women are just rapt when she tells her stories.
Yeah.
And when she talks to these women, her stories about Chris escalate over time.
Yeah.
So it starts with just some general frustrations, right?
Yeah.
He's not there for me when I need help with the kids.
Yeah.
And I'm sure she's just making it sound like he's going into the basement and playing video games and not giving full context.
Yeah. Dramatizing.
Exactly. But soon it starts turning from just general frustrations with married life to he's hitting me.
Oh, God.
And now she's showing everybody all of these bruises that are all over her body. But people that see the bruises are like, this looks like a surf bruise.
Yeah. You've always had these.
Yeah, and she does a lot of outdoor stuff.
Yeah.
She gets banged around in the ocean pretty regularly.
Yeah.
And that's what those bruises look like, but she's telling everybody that it's Chris hitting her. Lisa also tries to manipulate Chris's friends so they can talk to Chris to get him to move the way she wants him to move. So she tries to get them to drop a dime in his ear.
Yeah.
Maybe if you talk to him about...
Yeah.
And some of Chris's friends are like, I want no parts of this. Right. They're like her ex-husband, Nick. Like, look, I don't give a fuck about your marriage.
Yeah, do not involve me.
But there are some friends that allow her to talk her shit because they're kind of doing the keep your enemies close kind of thing. The ones that don't like her and don't trust her allow her to sound off because they're keeping their enemy close.
Yeah, smart.
On December 5th, 1997, when Dane was about 6 months old, Lisa made the first of many calls to the police with accusations of domestic violence.
Cow.
When the cops came to the house, Chris had already left. Remember, it escalates, he leaves.
Yeah.
Smart man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Smart man. Sometimes it's not worth it to argue it out and come back in a couple hours, cooler heads will prevail.
Yeah.
Hopefully. When the cops had got there, Chris had already left the house, and Lisa wasn't injured or anything, so nothing was done. Yeah, she shows off some bruises, but they can tell that the bruises are older, it's not fresh.
Yeah.
So they're chalking it up to nothing to see here. And while Lisa's busy trying to get Chris arrested,
yeah,
Chris was trying to put down roots for their family.
Oh, bless his heart.
Now that they're a family of 4, they need a little bit more stability in their life. And he decided that they were going to live in Hawaii for 6 months and live in Bend for 6 months.
Okay.
And to that end, he renovated the home that he owned in Bend.
Mm-hmm.
It was originally like a 2-bedroom, 1.5 bathroom place. He renovated it to like a 4-bedroom house.
Oh, wow. Huh. That is a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the house was, the way it's described is that, it is a house, but it was definitely designed for either a single person or a person without children.
Mm-hmm.
So it was the kind of place that had like 2 master bedrooms type of thing. So he did the work to remodel it because he wants to start setting down roots, even though they live in 2 different places.
Yeah.
So they got the house in Hawaii. Those are their Hawaiian roots.
Mm-hmm.
And now the house in Bend. To that end, Chris remodeled, renovated everything to accommodate his new family.
Mm-hmm.
And during the months that Liysa and the kids were in Bend, she actively avoided her in-laws and quit letting them see the children.
Oh, that is so small. Why would you do that?
Nobody knows.
You
know why? And here's what made it especially weird.
Mm-hmm.
Liysa always had a good relationship with her in-laws.
Weird.
They liked her when they met her in Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
They liked her when he would bring her to Bend. They liked her older son. They were over the moon for the new grandbaby.
Yeah.
Why can't we come to your house anymore?
Yeah. That is such a weird... what a weird power move to make.
Chris would try to put it off to postpartum depression, which she did get after Dane's birth. But it doesn't explain why she quit seeing her in-laws altogether.
I know, right?
She doesn't go to their house.
Mm.
They are clearly not welcome in hers. The handful of times his parents did come over just to come over, Liysa was polite enough, said hello, and then disappeared into a bedroom and didn't come back out.
Dang. Weird.
So, yeah. She even went as far as to one time, Chris's parents came over and they saw her look out the window. She was upstairs. Mm-hmm. She looked out the window. Their eyes locked.
Yeah.
She knew they were there.
Yeah.
She told her oldest to go downstairs and tell his grandparents that their mother wasn't home and he couldn't let them in.
Mm.
But they saw her.
Yeah. That is such bizarre behavior. I mean, what do you do? What do you do with someone who is normal? Who treated you like a normal person, who was acting like a normal person, all of a sudden starts acting crazy.
And I wonder if, again, nobody really knows, so this is completely speculation.
Mm-hmm.
If she pushed her in-laws away because of all her lies.
I don't know.
She had to convince Chris to marry her. And she had told him that she wanted all this old-fashioned, traditional stuff, just like his parents. But the reality is she's too ambitious to be anybody's trad wife.
Yeah, true.
And so Chris would accept that, but I wonder if that's why she doesn't want them around.
Maybe.
Because then they'll see that, oh, she's not for you.
Yeah.
She's not doing the things that she promised.
Yeah, she can't be wrong in front of these people.
Yeah. And all that trad wife shit was part of the grand plan to convince Chris to marry her.
Yeah.
It's 26 days of Jodeci. And then in the end, Liysa decided she didn't want to be married to Chris at all.
Mm.
And she was disappointed in herself.
Yeah.
Because she had elevated Chris to this godlike status that only that lifeguard
true.
had really gotten to. And he wasn't living up to that.
Oh, no.
Basically, she's mad that he's not fulfilling a role that he didn't even know he had.
Yeah.
I have an aunt that's like that, and she got mad at me because I said, we can play this game, but I need to know what the script is.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can do this. I don't got a problem with pretending if this is what we want to do,
Yeah.
but I need to know what my role is, or I'm going to fuck it up every single time. And you're just going to be mad at me forever because I'm not going to play the role because I don't know what it is.
Exactly.
And then she hung up on me. But that's where Chris is at.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's playing a role he doesn't even know he has to play.
Yeah. I didn't know I auditioned for this. I didn't realize this is the role I'm in. What the fuck?
And Liysa is just pissed that she cannot break him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's still got that stubborn streak. He is willing to level with her instead of blowing smoke up her ass.
Yeah.
He is still willing to just do his own thing. Now, the only difference...
walk away from a fight.
Yeah. Now, the only difference now is that if he gets up in the morning and he gets a wild hair up his ass to go hike, he is more likely to take the boys with him.
Okay.
He'll put that baby in the backpack and take the 5-year-old and just go. And he enjoys doing that. He's actually much happier when it's just him and the boys.
Oh, nice.
And you know what? So is Liysa. She's actually much happier when Chris is out of the house and it's just her and the boys.
Yeah.
But outside of taking the kids on age-appropriate hikes, he's still... just gonna, if he wants to go kayak, he's just gonna fucking get up and go to Seattle and go kayak. If you want to come, that's great. But if not, fuck you. I'm just going.
Yeah, I never promised you I'd give this up.
And she is so mad about it. Like, super mad.
Yeah.
Like, why can't I break you?
It's worked with everybody else. Why not you?
It's like a reverse Brokeback. I can't quit you. Why can't I break you?
Yeah. Yeah.
So over the next few years, Liysa would call the cops accusing Chris of hitting her many more times.
Oh, God.
And while she was always showing the cops or whoever else she was telling the bumps and bruises of her injuries, people mostly could tell that these are injuries that she suffered either surfing or hiking or any number of her outdoor activities is where all these bruises and bumps are coming from. And while Liysa would do plenty of unhinged things during the course of their marriage, they did get to a point, like I said, that they're happiest when it's just them and the kids.
Yeah.
Neither one of them has beef with the kids.
Well, good.
And they just want to, Chris takes some hiking, fishing, all of that stuff. And Liysa homeschools and provides. She probably does do amazing enrichment activities, though.
Okay.
I bet you anything that the enrichment stuff that she does with her boys is probably fucking amazing. I mean, a lot of her, perfect mom shtick is just for the attention. Yeah. But I have no doubt that those boys benefited from her willingness to go above and beyond to
probably
give them adventures and let them see and explore. Any benefit that they got is probably a side effect to her just being a weirdo, selfish, lying liar that lies. But that doesn't mean that they didn't have some positive things in their childhood. This is a really crappy marriage.
She doesn't know how to do any other kind of marriage.
This is a crappy marriage based on lies, rumors, and lies.
Yes. And delusions.
So I think it probably goes without saying when I say that as the years went on, the marriage between Chris and Liysa continued to deteriorate.
Yeah.
Also, you can tell I'm sick of this lady's shit because I start spelling her name the regular way, Lisa, and not the Liysa bullshit that she does.
Right?
That's how I know I'm fed up with this bitch.
Exactly.
I'm gonna spell Lisa the way I know it's supposed to be spelled. Fuck you, silly bitch.
I'm tired of accommodating you.
Yeah.
It's unnatural. You have to think about it a little extra.
Yeah, fuck this silly bitch. I'm spelling Lisa Lisa.
Yeah.
Fuck the Y, and fuck that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing. And so then, as the marriage continues to deteriorate, Lisa doubles down on the stories that Chris is abusing her.
Yeah.
This is also around the time that Lisa started pursuing a screenwriting career.
Oh, God.
Now, she is a talented writer.
True.
But she ain't great.
Yeah.
She would be, often the times her stories are really focused on a single plot and she doesn't really finish much of anything.
Oh, Lord.
Most of her stories revolve around some downtrodden woman that's either being abused or she's running away from something.
Yeah.
And then, of course, enough is enough. And she rallies and defeats whatever the thing is.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's an abusive partner, abusive husband. Sometimes it's cancer.
Yeah.
But that's the general.
Yeah. She has I don't know. I don't want to say genre, kind of a trope.
Yeah.
She just has this trope she does over and over again. The downtrodden woman who overcomes it all and rallies at the end.
And that is every single one of her stories. And as I said, she's not an untalented writer. She just doesn't write about anything good.
No, she's just focused on the one story she likes to tell herself.
And that is what this is. Like, she's always the downtrodden woman
of
that
course.
needs to rally at some
She
point.
doesn't have the ability to write about the lives of other people.
No.
Just her fantasy life.
Or create other people.
Right?
For her fantasy. Because, whatever.
Mm-mm.
So, while Lisa ran a really successful surf photography business with her ex-husband, Nick, Lisa had been writing for a long time. She's a compulsive writer, almost.
Yeah.
A lifelong journaler, yada yada. But she didn't show anybody her stuff because she was really looking for some sort of a mentor to help her out. She didn't want to just throw these pearls before swine.
I'm sure.
Let just anybody read it. I need some sort of a mentor. Somebody that's going to actually open doors to get this brilliance out into the world. Or at the very minimum on Lifetime TV for women. Because that's like
my public.
Basically what she writes is like C-list Lifetime movies.
Yeah, it sounds like.
You know,
yeah.
You're not going to get the Betty Broderick story out of her. Or Not Without My Mother.
Yeah.
You're not going to get anything that good.
No.
But like, like the weird mid-tier thing where John Stamos is a serial killer. Sure, he can do that. She can do that for you.
Yeah.
That's kind of like a C-list.
Yeah.
I think there was a Lifetime movie like that too.
Yes.
I can't remember.
Either he was like a stalker or a serial killer. I want to say he was also a dentist.
Could have been.
Like,
I mean, dentists,
very
dangerous people.
Yes, they are. They've got 10 seasons of a murder show to prove it.
Straight up. I've got like 4 cases of dentists just waiting in the wings. I just don't want to make it the all dentist show all the time.
I know, it's disturbing.
So she hoped that getting a mentor would be the kind of break that she needed to make the kind of money that she needed to buy her women's retreat, her ranch.
Yeah.
Chris won't buy it for her. Nick won't buy it for her.
Yeah.
Clearly she has to do this herself.
Yes.
And the only way for her to make the hundreds of thousands of dollars that she needs to make to get this ranch, to make her retreat, is to become a successful screenwriter.
It's a plan.
Sure. But like Nick before him, Chris had no desire to chase real estate.
Yeah.
or to open a new age spa.
Yeah.
Remember, Chris
Not
wasn't
his dream.
into the real estate thing either.
Yeah.
They made a handful of good investments,
Yes.
but he wasn't into collecting property like
Yeah,
she was.
I know. Like Monopoly.
Right. And it's the same with Chris. He's not into collecting real estate.
Yeah.
They can make a handful of good investments, and he will invest in what they already own, which is why he's remodeling his house in Bend, which is partially why he took out the $30,000 to make his Sankey Panky pad
Yes.
a thing. All of that is furthering improving those investments.
Yeah.
So he's willing to do that, but he's just not going to throw good money after bad because she wants to open a new age, whatever the fuck you want to call this thing.
No, right?
I wrote down that it was a spa.
Crystal Ranch.
Yeah, then I wrote like retreat and other places. Whatever the fuck
Yeah.
kind of weirdo shit that she wants to open.
Right.
Chris isn't going to give her a fuckload of money for that either.
Yeah.
So, everybody's betraying her, by the way. Every time somebody doesn't give her $250,000 for a fucking ranch. If you don't give her $250,000 for a ranch, betrayed. If you don't spend another $250,000 for a head of cattle, go on said ranch, and they better be cute too.
Yes.
And there better be some like mini Highland cows in there.
Yes.
But like the minute you don't do that, you're also betraying her. And like anytime she doesn't give her way, she is betrayed. So while Chris would grow to understand that Liysa will never be a trad wife, and he accepted it.
Yeah.
If anything, it was that drive and that ambition that attracted him to her in the first place. So he eventually can adjust and accept that she is not what the letters said professed that she wanted. She should be happy. You should be happy that you have a partner that supports your ambitions. Even the weird ones.
Yes.
He may not be willing to give you all this money for a fucking ranch right now, but he does love the fact that you want to be generous in that way.
Yes.
And that you want to help people, and that's one of your ambitions. He loves that. He just ain't gonna throw their money behind it without a solid business plan.
Yeah.
that is. But Liysa was frustrated that Chris no longer hung on her every word. Her farts no longer smelled of sunshine.
No.
Her piss was no longer peppermint.
Yeah.
He's just not enthralled. And he's not showering her with constant praise like he did in the very beginning of their relationship.
The thrill is gone.
When he used to tell her that she was the most wonderful thing on two legs.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happens.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that they love you any less. It's just
Things
life.
have cooled down a little.
Yeah. It's not fraka forever.
I know.
I mean, I wish it would be nice. But eventually, real life sets in.
Exactly.
And you both got to go to work, and somebody has to do these damn dishes, and the laundry is there, and next thing you know, you just watched A Quiet Place, and now you're asleep. Like, it happens.
Exactly.
It happens.
You can't stay teenagers in the first rush of love forever.
It happens to the best relationships. Everybody gets into that spot where you're happily living life.
Yeah.
And you're cool. But it's not
no.
every single night. It's not that.
No.
So to take the edge off of her boring marriage, Liysa waited until Dane was about a year old. And then she just broke down in front of her mommy group. Crying that she had to come clean and let her friends know that Chris was beating her.
Oh, God.
He beats me when y'all ain't around.
Of course.
She told the women in her group that Chris punched her and beat her up, and he pulled her hair out by the roots. Wait. I'm being brave. Hold on. Save your condolences while I continue to be brave.
Let me rally.
The women in the group were begging Liysa to leave it.
Yeah.
Leave Chris. It's that bad. Leave. But Liysa explained, I can't leave. There's nowhere to go. He's a pilot, and he'll follow me to the ends of the earth.
Oh my god.
Stop
Drama
it, Jeannie.
llama.
I'm being brave. God damn it.
Drama llama.
God damn it, you're interrupting me being brave. I mean, that's what she's giving.
Yes. A performance.
Yes. There's nowhere to hide. He's a pilot.
Yeah.
Because planes just see everybody everywhere.
No.
That's what they call it.
Oh, what an energy vampire.
Also, she couldn't go to a shelter because most women's shelter would only let her and the boy stay for 48 hours. Lies.
I know.
Lies from the pits of hell.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there are some temporary and emergency shelters that won't let you stick around for too much more.
But you don't
than
understand.
a day
I
or
need
two.
your perpetual sympathy without me doing anything.
Exactly. There are plenty of shelters that offer longer term services, but there are those emergency places that only let you stay 48, 72 hours.
Yeah. But they will get you to a longer term one.
But they will
In those
exactly
48
in
hours.
that's their whole purpose is to help you get longer term resources.
Yeah.
But this ain't that.
Yeah.
And it's funny, like some of her girlfriends did call shelters and found out that no, we don't got a 48-hour rule. Or
Where'd you hear that?
Or when they ran into one that had like a short stay rule, it was like, well, because in that time we're gonna help them get in touch with this, that, this, that, this, that, and this and that, and then we'll help them transition to something a little longer term. This is for the immediate, oh my god, my nose is bleeding, I think my arm is broken.
Yeah.
Like it's for that kind of immediacy. But you know, Lisa's gonna Lisa. He's gonna hunt her down. And Lisa told versions of the story to both her Hawaii friends and her Oregon friends.
Man.
She even went to Chris's parents, to his mother Jean with a J.
Oh my god.
And told her that Chris had anger issues and he had tried to strangle her.
Okay.
But Miss Jean was like, I've known him literally since he was born.
Yes. Being his mother and all.
And I know people change as they get older.
Yeah.
And not everybody knows everybody completely all the time.
True.
Even as his mother. But I know this ain't that.
You're right. Like, no, this doesn't pass the smell test.
Lisa even was like, but look at my neck here where he tried to strangle me. Don't you see the marks? And Jean was like, no, sweetheart. I don't see the marks. Like, Jean looked at Lisa like dead ass confused. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? There's nothing on your neck. Oh, Lisa left that house. She was in a huff. She was pissed.
Yeah.
How dare Jean be so blind to her son's misdeeds that she won't go blindly into this lie that I'm trying to tell?
No. I will. You're going to see your grandkids even less now.
As I look out the window and I send my oldest to tell you that I'm not there. Yeah. Oh, she even told friends that Chris was a high-functioning alcoholic with multiple personality disorder.
Wow. Holy shit. She's like laying on that fiction brush thick.
Oh, yeah. Now, granted...
Alcoholic with multiple personalities. Oh
now, granted, I have heard some stories about airline pilots being high-functioning Jimmy Fallon level alcoholics. Yeah. And those dudes, I just think the pressure of that job just gets to them. And blah. But this ain't that.
Yeah.
Chris ain't that. He's a regular... He sure as shit don't got multiple personality disorder.
No, that is so weird. Where did you pull that out? Why that?
I don't know. She saw Sybil that week.
Yeah, probably.
I was gonna say Split, but this is like 98, 2000. That movie wasn't out yet.
She's read something or come across something. Because for someone who is such a fantasist and makes up so much, she is not creative. Like, at all.
No.
I mean, no wonder she needs a mentor. She needs someone to tell me what to write. It's like she could write volumes, but you have to give her like something to write about. That's why she fanfics her life.
Man. So while Lisa's out there spreading these foul rumors of domestic violence to her friends, Chris is starting to understand that Lisa's not the woman she pretended to be.
Oh, bless.
Yes, he had liked the fact that she seemed to be independently wealthy. And not because he's a gold digger, but he either ran into a few or witnessed a few. He likes a woman that has her own.
Yes.
And that's the image that Liysa put out. And while she is by surf photography standards, she is successful, but she's on the middle low end of success in that industry. Yes, she has a real estate portfolio, but she doesn't make enough money to make any of the payments on any of that shit Nick's paying and his parents. Because remember, she insisted that they stay on as debtors on those properties. And please love me.
Yeah. Be nice to me.
Make sure that they're always nice to me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Nick was trying to pay the properties. I think his parents helped them purchase 2 or 3 properties. And Nick's whole thing was like, okay, my parents helped me buy this stuff. I'm going to work like a bajillion hours or do whatever it is I need to do to get my parents off of these notes as fast as humanly possible.
Yeah. Good son.
And Liysa never contributed or did anything that she was supposed to do to help towards that. She was supposed to pay the taxes. She never did.
Yeah.
She was supposed to do maintenance on properties. She never did.
Yeah.
So his parents are still on the hook.
Yeah.
Just where she wants them. And he had learned to come to terms with, her poor housekeeping. And he was supportive of her visions and her ambitions, even though he wasn't willing to finance most of them. He was supportive that these are things that she wanted to do. Chris knew that his marriage was not in a good place. But he was not aware of the vile things that Liysa said about him behind her back, behind his back. For his part, Chris wanted Liysa to understand look, he needed a nice 40 minute workout after flying for 8+ hours.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I need you to understand. This is not personal. This is how I stopped from becoming a humpback. Being crouched up in that little pocket all that time. Like I said, not only did these post-workouts help him keep himself mentally healthy, but they physically helped him because he said he would be in knots.
Yeah, that makes sense.
At the end of a flight. But Liysa saw this need for a little bit of decompression and not coming home straight away as inconsiderate and selfish because she needed his help with childcare because his career don't mean shit. Her mid-range.
Yeah. No, she's changing the world. One surf photograph at a time.
Her mid-tier surf photography career. Because let's be real about this. She is mid at best. I mean, mid in surf photography is better than I am. That's for goddamn sure. But she's mid. There's a reason that she maybe makes $2,000 to $5,000 a month, and Nick is making $15,000 plus a month.
Yeah.
There's a reason for it. Nick is the guy that they're calling to work on surf movies, not her. But in spite of all of this, Chris wasn't ready to leave Liysa just yet.
Oh, bless. Oh.
But he was beginning to get resentful of always having to do what Liysa wanted all the time. There's not a lot of room for him and his needs and wants in this relationship.
No, God, no.
And
he's not allowed to have that.
No. And if she's not whining about something that she needs for herself, she's upset that he's not done something with the boys.
Yeah. Even
though, by all standards, I think he's a pretty good dad.
Yeah.
And yet he wouldn't leave. Would not leave.
I would figure all the time she's calling the cops on him would be a clue.
No.
Man, it's hard to get out of an abusive relationship, especially if you're a man.
Yeah.
So it's like, dude, I'm sorry. Whatever made this so hard, I'm sorry. That's awful.
She's just good at guilting him into shit.
Yeah.
And when Chris was in town, she didn't want to be around him. She would leave him with the kids, and she would take full advantage of those free Hawaiian airline flights and fuck off to God only knows where, so that she could avoid Chris.
Yeah.
And she would tell him it was work, but a lot of times it wasn't.
No.
She just felt like going to Thailand for a weekend.
It's like, no, you stay with the kids, and I'm going to jet off to do something spontaneous.
Yeah.
She's like, I want your life.
Guess what? You could have had it if you didn't have children.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah.
In 1998, Lisa's first husband, the college husband, got a strange call from Lisa. He was shocked because they hadn't spoken in the better part of a decade.
Yeah.
And she told him that she is single.
Oh, Jesus.
Ready to mingle.
Ugh. I'm back on the market.
Oh, yeah.
Ugh, what a disturbing call to receive.
And, of course, she told him about all the property that she had in Oregon and Hawaii.
I'm such a catch.
He's married, children of his own. And he was not interested in sparking things back up with Lisa.
Right? Hell no, Lisa.
He just was like, yeah, fine. He didn't even bother to find out that she was married.
Yeah.
He was just like, yeah, no.
Have a nice life. Click.
She tried to get back with a couple of exes. All of them told her to fuck right the fuck off.
Good for them.
Because nobody wants to deal with that shit. And now she's depressed because she's being rejected by these people that she thought were going to be enthralled by her pussy forever.
Yeah. That's how it works.
You're going to be obsessed with me forever. Why is it that when I call you 15 years later, you don't want to fuck? I don't understand.
I bagged you and tagged you.
Damn it. Much like sharks, these tags are for life.
Yes.
Like the deer. These tags are for life.
Yes.
What do you mean you don't want me to have tags?
Submit to me.
But that is where we're going to leave you for part 2 of the continuing saga of Liysa Northam.
Liysa Dewitt, Northam. What are the others? Oh, these men remained anonymous.
Yeah, all of these men, with the exception of Chris, all of these men are anonymous.
And we will leave them out of it. Sorry, guys.
So I'm like, if Anne Rule couldn't get them to say their names,
we're not gonna.
Basically, as long as she's breathing, I don't need my name out there.
Exactly.
And on that note, I've been Samara.
And I've been Jeannie.
And this has been Talk Deadly to Me.